reviewing the Fairfield Home and Garden Journal, and I'm your host, Karin Howery. And it's my pleasure today to introduce you to Allison Rowland. Allison Rowland has a wonderful establishment here in Fairfield, and she serves coffee and a lot of goodies to the Fairfield community. And I know this gal is terribly addicted to this store. So I thought today we're going to kind of visit, and Allison will tell you and give us her expertise on coffee, different coffee, and what you can do with coffee. Welcome, Allison.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy to be here.
Glad to be here.
Allison, you have a variety of coffee flavors, and could you tell us a little bit about what you have, and maybe give us a little bit of an insight about the coffee?
Okay, we've got 36 different kinds here, between the Swiss processed decaf and then our regular coffees. In the regular coffees, we have the upper line, and then we have a regular everyday, and then we have flavored. Of the upper line, we have Kona, which is a 100% Hawaiian. It's the only 100% U.S. grown coffee. And then the one we're out of stock on now is Jamaican Blue, and the reason it's considered the best coffee in the world. It's a Arabica bean that's grown above 5,000 feet, and it's the one that it's usually bought out, and that's the problem right now with the reason why it's been on back order so long, is that their last crop didn't come in well, and the previous crop had been completely sold out. So hopefully we'll be getting that soon. Then we run over to our everyday, what we consider our regular line. They're not flavored coffees. They're just your regular morning or nice cup of coffee. The breakfast blend has a little bit of a kick to it, a little bit more caffeine that wakes you up in the morning. And then we've got Plantation Kenya AA, which is more of a mild, good flavored coffee. Then the Mocha Java, it's not a flavored coffee, but yet it has a little bit of that chocolate taste to it. And the Mexican, Colombian are the two that are very closely related.
Yeah.
Beyond these five, we've got two, the espresso and the French roast. French roast is roasted twice, and espresso is your stronger, roasted 3 times.
So if I can take out a bean, French roast, and I don't know if you can see, but you probably can see by the color, French roast and espresso are very dark. So they be roasted. You said
this is the strong European flavor.
That's right. So if you like a real cup of coffee. What I usually do at my home, I get maybe to get the breakfast blend or the Viennese cinnamon, and I put French roast beans in it. I mix them, so it's a little bit stronger, and you really have to like coffee to do that because you get the really strong coffee flavor. So the French roast is really great mixing with other flavors, I think. And then the espresso is for the especially roasted, I think, for the to have espresso, what is very strong coffee. And Allison will share her secrets of making a good espresso a little bit later.
Okay, then going on over, we've got the rest of our coffees are flavored coffees. There's the hazelnut, the almond, and the amaretto are considered, and the vanilla are considered the more popular flavored coffees around the world. And then the others, people who are like real adamant coffee drinkers usually don't go for the raspberry and the banana and those flavors.
Yeah.
Then we have the other ones, the chocolate almond, or some people like the double chocolate, which has an actual dusting of the chocolate around it. I don't know how much more. Let's see, macadamia nut and Irish cream. And then over here we have the Swiss water process decaffeinated.
Okay.
These are naturally decaffeinated coffees.
Okay, Allison, can you tell us a little bit of the difference? I know they use a totally different process of decaffeinating the beans, and that's through steam.
The Swiss water process, which they have, they kind of spray it with water, and then they use CO2 underneath it. But it's a naturally decaffeinated processing. It's not adding any chemicals to it.
Right. So that's the difference. If you want to have an organic cup of coffee, I think you would go with that line. Is that correct?
Or For decaffeinated?
For
yes.
decaffeinated. So
Yes.
there's no chemicals added, and there again a variety of flavors.
We do have the espresso and decaffeinated. It's kind of
That's
doesn't quite make
funny.
sense, but if they like the real strong taste of an espresso, but yet they don't want the caffeine.
Okay, it's just, and again, a variety of.
The important thing with the coffees is the type of bean. These coffees here are all 100% Arabica beans, which means that they they have a better flavor. They don't have as much acid because they are naturally grown at a higher elevation at a cooler temperature. Most things that you go and you buy that are canned are a mixture of Arabica and Robusta beans, which it doesn't have the real, it has a little more acid to it.
Right, and the more, as I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, more acid beans come from Africa, because some of the plantation there that I have seen, they are not very much in high elevations.
Right. Correct.
So you get more, and that's maybe something you wanna, when you go to a store, ask them where the beans came from, because that will give you an indication of the acid level that's in the beans.
Yes.
Yeah, so, okay.
The best way to do your coffee, I feel the best way is to go ahead and get the bean, take it home and grind it yourself. You get the more fresh flavor, and keep it stored in an airtight container in the refrigerator, or if you're not going to use it for a very long time, go ahead and freeze it and then pull it out as you need it. We do grind the coffees here, but like I said, you can get a home grinder, which is, they're very simple to use, and you just put in how much you need and grind it. And then there's always the little brush to keep it clean, so you don't mix your flavors.
Yeah.
Going on from there, the different ways you can brew it. I think Karin does a good job of explaining this.
Melinda does this, and I was sharing that before with Allison. This is the first coffee machine. That's how I grew up with it. Before we all had these wonderful coffee machines at home, we used the Melinda filter. Ours actually was bigger because we used a bigger container. These are more for single cups, but you can get them in a larger size. You put the filter in, grind your coffee, and then you add your boiling hot water, and it comes through. And that's how we used to make coffee. So this is your first coffee machine, and it still works, and it's still wonderful.
A lot of students like these in their dorm rooms because they
Right, real easy.
don't have anything.
Yeah.
In it. Going from there is the French press. You can see up at the top.
Yeah.
It's considered basically the same thing. You boil your water really hot. You grind your beans. You put it in you lift the plunger up, put the beans in, and pour the boiling water over top. And put your sit it in there. Let it steep for 4 minutes. Then you put the plunger down, and it keeps the grinds from getting into the rest of the coffee when you pour it out.
Yeah, makes a good strong cup of coffee. Really nice, and it doesn't take that long to make it. It's wonderful in the morning.
Okay, and then we've got lots of different flavorings. That's getting to be the big thing now, is
Yes.
to add different flavorings to your coffee. So if you don't want to go and try to get the cafe amaretto or the Irish cream, you can take your basic everyday Colombian and add to it these little flavorings, and you can make it as strong as you want. These are, you can get like hazelnut and almond and raspberry. They've even come out now with what they call mocha dots it's a little chocolate, flavored chocolate that you drop into the bottom of your cup of coffee, and it adds a lot of extra flavor.
And I also have seen these wooden spoons or plastic spoons they have that are covered with chocolate, that when you have your cup of coffee, you buy them and then you just stir your coffee with that spoon, and then the chocolate or whatever is on a spoon.
And they work really well.
Yeah, and they're a sweet gift to give to your coffee drinker.
Okay, and we've also, they got the different, these aren't only used for coffee, but they can be used in teas and making Italian sodas and just a variety of things.
So Allison, you would use how many drops per cup? Well, or does it depend on what you like? How strong you like it?
It depends on what you like. Usually to make like a good flavor cup of coffee, I'd say like a tablespoon.
A tablespoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good.
To add in, especially like if you're doing a flavored cappuccino or something.
Right, right.
Okay. We also have a lot of people with their cappuccinos, if they like the whipped cream on top, they put the sprinkles, different flavored sprinkles, which are really fun.
So there's a lot of things on the market now to enhance your coffee,
Right.
if you're into that.
In the 90s, the big thing is the coffee shops.
That's right.
They're coming back.
That's
They've been
right.
gone for a while.
So, and I think that's wonderful. And we can take time out and visit with our friends or family and just enjoy. I'm glad it's back. It feels like home.
Good.
Well, let's take a moment and then maybe you can share some more things about coffee.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Well, we're back, Allison, and what are you going to show us now? What will we have?
What I'm showing you right now is how to make an espresso. And we were just talking a moment ago about the difference between the espresso and a Turkish. The Turkish coffee is a stronger that actually has like a paste, like you said.
Yeah, it's like syrup. It's more than syrup. It's like a coffee paste. It's very strong and thick, and your spoon actually will stick in it.
And when you grind it, you actually have a Turkish grind that is very fine, even finer than what you use for espresso. When you do make the espresso, you want a fine grind. You put it in. We use a little over a heaping spoonful, and when you run the espresso, the thing you don't want to do is put too much water. That's why we've got a little sized cup, because the more water you add to it, it's going to weaken it.
Yeah.
You want the strong flavor.
Yeah, and I think you just also need a little cup because it is very strong.
Yes, you're getting a straight shot of caffeine, unless you do the caffeine.
Yes, and it's very dark, and it will smell.
You can actually watch and see how that's changing. And you can see the water being added. When it first comes out, it's a very dark liquid.
You see?
When we run our espressos, we really only do slightly more than a quarter cup.
Yes.
So some people think they're not getting enough, but
Well, they're really getting a lot.
they are. Because you have to, I mean, if you look to see how much coffee you're actually getting in there, it's quite a bit.
Yeah. Now you have a commercial coffee maker here, and most of us have a smaller version at home. But the
Right.
process is the same. This is just a bigger machine, and I think, Allison, this also works a little bit faster than mine at home. Could that be, since it's a commercial?
Yes, also the way it's operated through the steam. Each machine's different, the way it's set up. The big thing you want to do, especially for cappuccinos, is you make sure it has a very good steam arm.
Right.
Because that's important for getting your froth going. Now for cappuccino, you can either use the espresso. That's what the true cappuccino people like, is the
Right.
espresso in it. We don't always use that in our store because we tend to do a little bit milder flavor. So we'll do the espresso upon request.
Okay.
Otherwise, we usually use Kenya. It adds a nicer flavor.
It's also a little bit milder, isn't it? It's not as it's not as bitter as the espresso.
And as you can see, that's a lot of coffee if you're looking for 1 cup for a person. That's why some people don't like cappuccinos very often.
Right.
Now the difference between a cappuccino and a latte is a latte you're getting a little bit stronger of a brew of the coffee itself, and you're getting it to a cup of milk, and you're only steaming the milk. Whereas a cappuccino, you're doing a half a cup of the brew, and then you're adding a half a cup of milk, and you want the froth in there, the steam in there. Okay.
So it really depends on your taste, what you like. Latte has has more milk, softer taste than your cappuccino. And also notice the size of the cup. I mean, this will give you more zing than this.
Well, you're adding all the milk and the foam.
Right.
Want a good stand-up. What I'm doing is I'm actually foaming the milk, and I'm bringing it up to a certain level so that when I add the cappuccino, the brew in, it's going to make it raise up. This is why it's important to have a good steam on your machine.
And it makes a lot of noise and it's hissing, but it's very important. And at first, it's quite intimidating. When I made my first cappuccino at home, it was kind of scary when I started to steam the milk, because it does make the steaming noise.
And you have to watch it too. This is a jumbo cup. On our other cups, they're a little bit smaller. You want to make sure that you don't bring it up too high, that when you pour it in, it's going to spill over.
Yeah. So it's really practicing, if you have a machine at home, practicing and seeing how much you need and so on. But it's a lot of fun to serve, I think, after a good meal. Or if you just have a couple girlfriends over and have a couple cappuccino, I think that's fun.
This is fun to make it in this cup for the first time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's all foamy, and we'll show that to you in a minute so you can see that. There.
I don't know if it's going to work real well in this cup.
It's a big cup, Allison.
Yeah. I must say, I'm used to using the smaller mug.
Sure. But this is such a beautiful cup, and thank you for using that.
We'll see if it'll work here.
Okay, Allison, could you be so kind and show that to our camera that we can see? It's all fluffy.
Right.
And this is the steamed milk. Can you see? Good. And then you're adding the coffee to it.
Probably should have done a double one.
Well, just you're right. Okay.
Normally on a jumbo cup, we should have done a double one, and it would be nice and heaping over. And then you can add your little sprinkles on top.
Whatever you like, or just simple cinnamon or nutmeg.
Right.
But now we have so many fancy toppings, so the sky is the limit. Whatever you like to put on there, you can do. So you see, and this will have a little bit more of a coffee effect, like I said before, than this one. And this will really, you have to be in. But it's wonderful after dinners, just wonderful. Thank you, Allison. Let's take a moment. Well, we're back, and Allison, you made another cup of cappuccino so that you can see the foam just looks wonderful.
Right.
And you topped it. What did you put on top?
We make ours a little bit different than other people do. We actually do everything in the cup. Most places, what they'll do is they'll use a frothing pitcher and steam the milk and get the foam on there. They put the liquid in the bottom of the liquid coffee in the bottom of the cup.
I see.
Then pour the milk and scrape out the foam on top. Whereas we do it all in one.
And I think it looks prettier.
Right. And it gives a nice appearance when it comes in.
So as you can see, and this is wonderful. You can see, well, with your cup of cappuccino or coffee or whatever beverage, of course you have to serve something wonderful with that. And these are all dipping cookies or dipping cakes. And could you explain a little bit what they are?
Okay. These are the Biscotti, and they're a hard biscuit, usually twice baked cookie, and they soften up when you dip them in the coffee. They've got just the plain and some that are chocolate with chocolate on top, or you've got the plain with the chocolate on top. They add a little flavor to your coffee too as the chocolate melts into it. Then these are something new that we found at the food show this year. These are called a Stroopwafel. And they actually suggest that you place it on top of your coffee and let it warm up.
Oh, wonderful.
And it kind of helps keep the coffee warm too.
Yeah.
And they have a little caramel flavor in the middle. And then just a regular
Shortbread.
You can also try a piece of cheesecake or brownie. And just enjoy yourself.
Have a wonderful time. Yes.
Okay. There's lots of different kinds of mugs and things that you can use for your coffees. We've got quite a variety. As as you can see, we've got the jumbo cappuccino mug. This is
Yes.
the new thing that everybody's looking for. Which that's, if you can see in, that's a lot of coffee.
Yes, that will hold you over for a little while. I love the colors.
Then we've also got the regular size mug, and things we try to look for in a mug is a good handle, good grip that people like, besides just the color, the appeal.
Yeah, and then also show us the lovely coffee pots and teapots that you have here. They're a little bit unusual and very sweet.
This one particular line is paper windows, and these are all handmade and handcrafted. It's a neat line, but it's not your everyday.
Yeah, and I think it'd be also nice if you collect teacups and tea containers. I think that'd be a nice addition to your collection. This is also very pretty.
This is like an English chintz pattern. It's more of your traditional bone china coffee pot. Then in the same line with this one, we have a little, it's called coffee for one, tea for one, and the cup actually fits on top.
This would also look great in somebody's bedroom, just on a nice.
This one of your favorites.
Yes, it is. Yes, I love these. I think they're very sweet. Not only very useful, but also make a nice conversation piece. And also, if you're into decorating and sprucing up things, I think that's very sweet, very nice. It's actually very simple. This is just white on white, but I think it's very. I have my eye on this and talked to Santa, and Santa didn't bring it, so I don't know what we're going to do.
I have to keep talking some more.
Yes. Okay. Also, show us some of your biscuits in containers and things. I think they're wonderful. I love the colors.
These are new canisters.
Uh-huh.
And this particular company, they've got like 4 or 5 different patterns. We're carrying the fruits right now, but we'll special order any of it.
So come on in and look what Allison has here, and she'd be glad to special order you some things. These make lovely gifts.
And they have quite a few casserole dishes too, and these are all dishwasher safe.
Neat. And this has
go in the oven.
Yeah.
These
Very
are more
pretty.
The red pears.
Very pretty. She sure would spruce up your dining room or your kitchen. Very nice. I think we're all ready for colors. We all have the winter blast, and this kind of chases the winter blast away. Very nice. What else? Show us the little strawberry casserole too, if you would please. I think that's very sweet.
This one's more of the painted windows, so it's handmade again and hand painted. This particular one cannot be used except for for a table that you put the hot things into.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to put this in the oven.
Okay. Very nice.
We also have another line which has a lot of the masters' pictures, the painted pictures of the French Renaissance and things. Would you like me to go through those?
Let's go over there and look at those mugs, if we may. We'll be. There you go.
Okay, what we have here are, they've taken actual artist paintings and put them on the mugs. This one's Homer's Blue Boat, and the colorings in these are beautiful, and the shape of the handle, it adds for a nice grip. And I don't know if you can see, but the paintings actually continued onto the handle itself. And these are done very nicely with details on the bottom. And here we have Vincent van Gogh's, the irises.
His irises.
And they've come in a variety of shapes. Here we've got a Monet.
That's a Monet. I think it's a part
lilies.
of the water lilies. Yeah.
Right. And as you can see, this is more dainty, I think you would say.
Yes. A great mug to take to your office.
But the coloring in them is what is so appealing. Here we go into the jungle.
Oh, this is
Animal
neat.
prints. And you can really see the vibrant colors. It's something nice to stick on your desk if you're, just to brighten up your desk.
Also, it would make a nice gift, don't you think, Allison? Fill that with truffles and chocolates, and you're all set for Valentine's Day.
We do a lot of these and add like a little pack of coffee and the spoon, because we have the chocolate spoons here too. And then, like you say, the truffles. Just add a little heart favor truffle.
Neat.
But with the Valentine's season coming up, this is a good idea for a little neat gift.
Great.
Okay.
Allison and I discovered something else. You also have quite a library on gourmet cooking and information, and Allison also sells this book, Coffee Companion. And if you want to find out more about what you have seen today, this would be a good addition to your library, and you can read up.
This has a lot of interesting history in it. It takes you back to where coffee came from, which was from Arabia, and how it has gotten spread across the world, and when it actually came to popularity. The 1700s was a big time when it started getting into England and France and places. And it tells you in here about making espressos, the cappuccinos. It also tells you about the different kinds of coffee, where they're grown, and the different flavors. So it makes a nice little
It's wonderful. And that's also, if you're really interested in for information, this is a wonderful book to get. Would also make a great gift. What else do you have?
We also have the same thing except about herbs and teas.
Oh, great.
Because we have quite extensive selection of teas that are for people who aren't quite the coffee drinker.
Yeah. Well, this is quite a place you have, Allison. And again, thank you very much for letting us come into your beautiful place. And if you're interested in gourmet cooking, love chocolate and coffee, this is really the place to come.
Well,
thank you, Allison. This concludes our show. Good night, Fairfield.